Varela sprinting forward on the outside. Seen by Mata, it wasn't the best pass by the Spaniard. Back in! Oh, would you believe it? Rashford again! One of the most remarkable stories of the season. Where did this young man come from? There's a chant from United's fans to their Arsenal counterparts. Who are you? They might have been saying that about Marcus Rashford just a few days ago. Manchester United 2, Arsenal 0, Rashford with both.
Hello and welcome to episode 7 of the Chronicles Express with me, Andy from the Red Devil Chronicle. This week, can United win the Premier League? Let's not be too rash. United chat coming up next. Welcome along then, lovely to see you all again. It's been a while and no studio available, so you're just dealing with me again for this week. We're going to dive into a bit of housekeeping first, then we've got Arsenal, Watford preview, we've got the fan takeover. Of course, a big weekend preview away at West Brom to come as well. So a lot to fit in. Let's dive straight in with the housekeeping then. First of all, what have we been up to since we were last on air? Well, United have actually had a great week and a half since we've last been on. Perhaps a sign that maybe we shouldn't be on as regular as we are at the moment. But all started out, of course, with that easy win against Shrewsbury. It was one of those games where we had to win. We had to win comfortably, and we did. A 3-0 win, very comfortable on the day. Great to see us through to the next round of the Cup. Keep us interested, keep us in the hunt for trophies. That's where we should be. From there, on the Thursday, of course, we played FC Midtjylland in the second leg of the Europa League tie. Going in 2-1 behind, we then went 3-1 behind when Midtjylland surprisingly opened up the scoring. Very easily carved through our makeshift defence of Carrick and Blind. And thankfully, in the end, by the second half, we did manage to turn that around. 5 goals in the second half, 6-3 on aggregate, through comfortably in the end. And we'd made them look like the average side that we were by the end of the game. So good result there. And of course, now on to Liverpool in the quarterfinals of the Europa League. Not a big trophy to brag about, but always a great chance to beat the Scousers. That's going to be a great game, an excellent game, a big game to watch as well. So keep your eye out for that one upcoming. Now, let's move on to the weekend fixture then, just gone. That was, of course, the Sunday afternoon. This was the biggest one of the week. It had been building towards it. We'd started to pick up form, and then it was the Sunday afternoon game. Arsenal visited Old Trafford in a huge game for Arsenal, and what was seen as a chance for them to keep hold of their title ambitions and put United down yet again. Now, it didn't work out that way, thankfully for us. When I saw the team sheets come in, there was real concern. A number of youngsters coming in through to the number of injuries again. Martial, one of the latest to miss out. And so there was real concern pre-match. And the bookies actually had Arsenal as favourites coming to Old Trafford. When have you ever seen that before? So it was really worrying. It was a game we had no right to win. But the youth pulled us through in a game where Arsenal should have dominated it, should have gone on and got the 3 points, and yet again Arsenal seem hell-bent on snatching defeat from the jaws of victory in a mid-season implosion. Always hilarious to see, and if you're on and around Twitter, always great to see the meltdown that comes with it. But it was Manchester United 3, Arsenal 2. I actually thought we gave them more of a chance, or more of an opportunity than we needed to. Arsenal did start the game the brighter, as you might expect, and they did dominate possession and chances in the early stages without ever really threatening too much. Very much reminiscent of Manchester United's style of football all season. However, it did feel like a bit of a training exercise for Arsenal at times, and I think that ultimately was their downfall. It was a case that they didn't have the teeth, didn't have the bite to really go at us and really put us under pressure when they did really have us on the ropes in the early stages if they'd have wanted to. Now, from there, Hard not to get carried away when suddenly, after the half an hour mark, within the space of 3 minutes, Marcus Rashford, of course, fresh from scoring 2 goals on debut in the Europa League on Thursday night, then pops up out the blue and takes another 2 chances clinically, racing us into a 2-goal lead. Now, of course, Rashford has a lot to learn still, and there is a long way to go, so patience really does need to be exercised with him. But the fact that he does have blistering speed, which we've been missing all season, the fact that he has no fear, which is something that United seem to have struggled with all season, that attitude and the fact that he is willing to put in a shift as well for the team, as we saw in the Watford game, as I'll cover in just a moment, shows to me that he could quickly become a fan favourite. Given the opportunity, he might as well grasp it whilst he can. With injuries, Wayne Rooney's still not going to be returning as far as we're aware until April. Now, Martial, of course, has come back since, and of course, it's great to have a bit of competition for places, but both of them seem to be adaptable into different roles because of the pace they have, and I think pace is the important word there, and that's why I think we will see more of Rashford as we go through the remainder of the season. Now, despite looking good going forward, or maybe showing Arsenal's weaknesses as ever at the back, we did show our sloppy defensive centre as well when Arsenal put on any sort of sustained pressure. And we let them back into the game too many times, too many in fact. And I think it's sort of symptomatic of our problems in games of not being able to kill off a game. Raced into that 2-goal lead, looking very comfortable. Could have just sat back in there and dominated the games. I said at the time on Twitter, let's just see this game out till half-time. Get back in there, get LVG to maybe say a couple of words just to give the guys a clue of what to do in the second half, and then we could just go out there and kill the game second half. But then, of course, we let Danny Welbeck score a very easy header. De Gea probably should do better. Schneiderlin also should do much better with his marking of Welbeck when the ball comes in, and they were suddenly back in the game. And yet again, it happened second half. We then get a lucky deflection, Herrera giving the full stage of Old Trafford so much space, and a fortunate deflection in the end made it 3-1. That should have again been game over, only for us to let a sloppy goal in from Özil. However, on the whole, a vital win for Manchester United, a huge 3 points, experience anchoring through, with Schneiderlin, Herrera and Carrick in the team, allowing the youth to inject some life into United's game on the Sunday and also back into our season as well. Now, little did we know on the Sunday what kind of impact that 3 points against Arsenal would actually make to changing our season going forward. And so let's take it through to the Wednesday night game where Manchester United, of course, hosted Watford, and it was Man United 1, Watford 0. A game reminiscent of one at the weekend between Leicester and Norwich, in my opinion, in the fact that it wasn't a great performance from Manchester United by any means. It certainly showed signs of going back to the boring, dull, unimaginative football that we have seen earlier on in the season. However, it was the result that was the crucial thing on the night, and we did get the result. A huge 3 points again for United in terms of building our season back together from what had previously fallen down and seemed to be something that we'd never be able to fix again in time for the end of the season. I think this could be a crucial result when we look back on the season as a whole. This could be one of the biggest wins, actually. Watford came to Old Trafford and gave it a really good go. In fact, they gave as good as they got, if not better, in parts. And we're also very solid defensively, as they have been generally all season. Aurelio Gomez has sort of seen a new lease of life at Watford after a previous bad spell at Spurs. And I think on the night, if you look back, we need to be really thankful that Ighalo at the other end of the pitch is a United fan, first of all, and currently out of form with his chances that he missed. I also remember Amrabat, who came off the bench, missed an absolute sitter, as did Prodal as well from the corner. How he missed that, we'll never know. But in a game type that has so often passed us by with a 0-0 result in that sort of game this season, on Wednesday night, Juan Mata, deputising as captain, finally decided to provide a moment of magic. It's been a long time coming, admittedly, and he's had a lot of criticism levelled at him recently, some of which has been from ourselves, admittedly. So it was great to see him step up as the deputising captain to provide a stunning free kick to win us the game to get a massive 3 points. And the reason, of course, it was so big, as you'll be well aware, is that with Leicester's draw, City, Arsenal and Spurs all losing on the same night, which was excellent for us, we're now level with City on 47 points, albeit we've played a game more, and we are only 10 points off the top of the league. Now, we've still got to play Leicester. They come to Old Trafford. We've got to go away to Spurs and away to City. So technically, fate is still in our hands of where we choose to go this season. Now, I put a point out there on Twitter last night. Why can't we still be in the title race? I mean, Manchester City presumably are still in it. They're on the same points total as ourselves. And yet, for some reason, when I mentioned, why not still being in the title race, it seemed like more of a joke than anything. And maybe there's a little bit of sarcasm in there. I mean, I don't truly think that we're going to win the league. But why are we not in there? Why can we not dream of winning that league still? And why is it that the club can't have that mentality and that ambition? A club our size should be going for trophies at any opportunity, and we are now back in with half a chance to win this league. Yes, it'd be a huge points turnaround, and as I say, I don't think it's going to happen personally, but that's what the club should be aiming for, and we could have a real chance here. Now, do you really want to become the new Arsenal? Do you want to be collecting the coveted fourth place trophy at the end of the season? Medals for the most possession in the league? Is that really where you want Manchester United to be? I certainly don't. I think we're worth more than that. I think our history suggests that we are, masters of the comeback kings in the past. And why can't we do that again? Yes, it's a lesser squad. Yes, we've been poor, but then so has everybody else this season as well. That everyone else is tripping themselves up as things stand, failing to win, failing to put a run together. And I believe that is exactly what we're capable of doing. We saw it last season, out of nowhere, out the blue. We started with Liverpool or Tottenham, and of course Crystal Palace away, where we secured the top four. There were a run of fixtures where it looked like we weren't going to pick up anything, where we picked up everything. So I believe that run could still happen. And of course, Manchester United have never really had a problem against the bigger teams in the league. In fact, that's been one of the positives. So the fact that we have got Spurs, City, Leicester to come, that should be a positive for us. They're big games, and we do seem to be able to get ourselves up and motivated for those sorts of games. So I say, in the words of Louis van Gaal, we go for it. Why don't we push on? Let's go and win the title. Why are we having a tin pot sort of club mentality where we're afraid now to talk about winning the title just because of what a bad season we've had in general and because of the way Louis van Gaal has managed us? It does seem that Van Gaal seems to be the blocking point for some people. They think perhaps a different manager might have been able to turn this around and win us the league, but not Louis van Gaal. And I think, why not? Leicester have defied the odds in getting to the position they're in. I think it would be less of a shock, surely, to say that Manchester United could win the Premier League from here than it would have been at the start of the season to say Leicester could have won the league. So let's go into it with the attitude of we are still a big club. We are still capable of winning trophies on all levels that we enter. And we still have a very good squad on paper. Yes, it's been ravaged by injury, as always seems to happen under Louis van Gaal. But we have some players returning. Chris Smalling should be back at the weekend. I don't know if this is good news, but Fellaini should also be back around the weekend, if not the week after. But there's more depth coming back into the squad, is my point. And I think with the return of Martial as well, if we can keep some pace in Rashford and get some form out of Juan Mata as well, we could really go places. So this is the time for United to stand up and make their bid for the title, in my opinion. Let us know what your thoughts are. As I say, I don't think we're going to win it personally still, but let us know on Twitter at WeFollowUnited why we can't win it if you don't think we can. Is it something that we should be aiming for, or should we just be accepting that maybe we're in a battle for top four still? Be interested to hear your thoughts. Get in the comment section below on that. And as I say, on We Follow United on Twitter. And next up, we are going to hear more from you, the fans, on this week's Fan Takeover. So every Monday afternoon, starting from 12 o'clock, we ask the big questions surrounding Manchester United and ask for your opinions. And that's, of course, what happened this Monday. So let's dive in and hear what you had to say in response to our questions. We started this week's fan takeover with this question. Following recent performances, should more faith be put into the youth to get results? Now, this one was massive. 96% of fans who voted in this one said, yes, we should put more faith in the youth to go out and get us the results going forward. And at Big C75 was also in touch with us on top of that to add, Busby always said, if they're good enough, they're old enough. If it's good enough for the great man, it's good enough for me. And that's absolutely right, in my opinion, as well. Nothing gets the fans more on side than seeing players from the youth teams grow and develop into the squad and make an impact on big games on the big stage. So I absolutely agree with the 96% of fans that said yes on this, purely because we've given a lot of experienced players time this season to get things right, and they simply haven't. We've talked about lack of motivation being potentially a problem, maybe an arrogance towards certain teams, maybe an inability to just have that life, an injection at times when things go wrong and things are going badly in the dressing room and on the training field, to adjust that and change it into good and positive results on the pitch when it really matters. So I absolutely agree. Let's give the youth more of a chance. It's been great to see the likes of Varela come in at right back. I also really enjoyed seeing Joe Riley against FC Midtjylland. I thought he was fantastic on the night. Fosu Mensah, a lot of people have been talking about him getting a shot in the first team, so great to see him in as a substitute against Arsenal, of course, starting against Watford. Like to see more of him. He's looked very solid as well. And of course, the main man of the moment, Marcus Rashford, out of nowhere, becoming instant hero around Old Trafford. And that's really what the sort of lack of fear that I mentioned earlier, and the right attitude just to go out there and just to play your natural game can do for you. So it's great that a lot of these youngsters are grasping that opportunity. It'd be great to see more of them coming through. We saw James Weir brought on right at the very end against Arsenal. It'd be lovely to see some more of him playing as well in the midfield if he gets that opportunity. So absolutely, why not? Let's give them a go. The experience has failed us, so let's put a few experienced heads dotted around the team, as I say, just to anchor the team and just to keep us moving forward, and just to, in terms of game management, maybe more experience that will help out towards the end of games. But let's give them a run out. There's a lot of pace in that youth team that we've built up, and as I say, a no fear attitude. They are not used to losing, so that's a great attitude to have. So let's get more of them in. Moving on to the next question we put out there then. We asked you, do you think Herrera and Schneiderlin is now our best centre midfield partnership? Now, the reason we put that out there is because we haven't really had a partnership that's worked all season, because we've also got Carrick, Schweinsteiger as well, that can play in that role. There has been a lot of interchanging through injuries, through lack of form. There hasn't really ever been a solid partnership put together for more than one, maybe 2 games maximum. Now, I know Herrera and Schneiderlin's partnership is not much greater than 2 or 3 games, but it has seemed like it's clicked for them. They dominated the game against Arsenal. I thought they looked very impressive against FC Midtjylland in the second half. And again, they looked good against Watford. Schneiderlin perhaps more so. Herrera's a little bit off the pace, but a lot of games coming at him quickly, having not been used to being played, having finally been freed by Van Gaal recently. Perhaps understandable that he was a little bit off the boil last night. But 73% of fans that voted on this poll said yes, they do believe Herrera and Schneiderlin is our best centre midfield partnership. A couple of opinions that came in on this on top of that. At football got _07 would go with Schneiderlin and Bastian. At Saifik Arabi says they both give defensive cover, and Herrera gives extra energy and chasing the ball all over the pitch. At Deepak Siani says, think this is a bit reactionary following 3 good performances. Still no deep line playmaker or great passer there. As a 2-man midfield, no, not the right balance. Perfect as part of a 3. I think they offer dynamism. Now, it's an interesting point raised there, the last one, and perhaps it is a little bit reactionary, but as I say, there hasn't ever been a solid partnership built up over more than a couple of games, and this one does seem to have been very positive for the squad in general. Now, in terms of the comment on deep line playmaker, I disagree with that personally. I think Herrera is perfectly capable of providing that role. Yes, he gives the ball away a little bit more often than perhaps you would like, but you need to give those playmakers the opportunity to give the ball away more often. They need to be given more creative license. And therefore, their ball retention possibly isn't always going to be as good because they have to be trying the more risky passes. Now, Herrera is not on the same passing level as someone like Michael Carrick in terms of the passes that he can pick out. Of course, he isn't, but he can certainly grow into that role, and I think he could work as a deep line playmaker going forward. And at the moment, I know you say no great passer there, and potentially at the moment you're correct, but I think going forward, there's foundations to build on there. And I also think you've got to accept that with the way United are playing going forward now, we aren't going to be going back to a midfield three anytime soon. I certainly don't see it that way anyway. You have to accommodate getting the best players into the team. And the 4-2-3-1 formation being played at the moment is arguably the best formation to get the best results. Otherwise, if you play in a 4-3-3, where are the likes of Mata going in that team? And arguably even where would Wayne Rooney fit in that? I mean, would you play him there at the expense of putting Martial back to the wider of the three again? I don't know. Personally, I think the 4-2-3-1's a better formation. Moving on to a final point that came in on this, at Clay 1978 United says, full of energy, need to play more games together and build on a couple of good games. And I think that's exactly where we're at the moment. They have put a string of a couple of good games together, so let's keep that partnership in place where possible, and let's give them a run of games. Let's give Herrera a chance to improve on recent performances, and let's give Schneiderlin the opportunity to get a central midfield partner. I think personally that one could work really well, and the majority of fans, of course, from the poll do agree with that as well. Let us know your thoughts on that one, of course, if you agree for a different reason or disagree. Entirely always interested to open up any debates. Moving on to the final question from this week's slightly shortened fan takeover. We asked, through injury and form, we've now got a range of options to play in the front four. Who'd have thought that? Not necessarily the best, but we have options. Who would make your preferred front three, or front four rather, attacking options? A few that came in here. At MUFC1 Scott says Memphis, Mata, Martial and Rashford with the front three interchanging. At Cogsy666 says Memphis, Martial, Herrera and Mata for me. Interesting one. I'm guessing Martial's a centre forward in that one. At J underscore Tazza says, at the time of tweeting, Rashford up front, Memphis, Mata and Martial behind. And it just depends if Rashford keeps it going long term. And at Serious One says Rashford up front again, Memphis, Mata or Pereira and Martial. So a lot of people going with Rashford staying in the team. Whether or not that's just been answered sort of on a short-term basis, I don't know. Although if his form continues, as J underscore Tazza mentions, then why not? Why shouldn't he get a run in the team? Would you include Wayne Rooney back within this front four as things stand on current form? If Rooney was to return in April and this front four that we have at the moment are currently working, would you be able to knock one of them out? And if so, who would it be? Would Rashford have to go at the expense of getting Wayne Rooney back in there? Let us know again your thoughts on that one. Would Mata be at risk? We've mentioned about his form in general not being great despite the winner against Watford. Would he struggle then to get into the team? I'd be interested to know your thoughts on that one. But thank you as always to everyone who got involved on the fan takeover this week. Another great one as always. And as I say, if you've got any opinions on anything we've discussed, either in the fan takeover or in the podcast in general, find us in the comment section below. Let us know your thoughts, or at We Follow United on Twitter. Let us know. Always interested to hear your thoughts. Moving on to end this week's Express show, we're going to look at the weekend preview, where, of course, on Sunday afternoon, it's Mother's Day, and we've got a big one at the Baggies. It's Sunday, it's 4 o'clock. Manchester United visit the Hawthorns to play West Brom in another big game in terms of putting some form together. We're going to have a quick chat through some of the stats, some of the form of late between the two teams, what we need to look out for in terms of West Brom's threat, and how we counteract that, how we line up, and of course ending with the Score Predictor League. First of all, then, we might as well start with West Brom as the home side. They are currently 10th in the form table. Last 6 games, they've had 2 wins, 3 draws, only 1 defeat, amassing to 9 points. And even better news for them at home for West Brom at the moment. 3 wins, 2 draws, and only 1 defeat in their last 6 at home, amounting to 11 points in their last 6. Now, it couldn't have come around this fixture at a worse time, really, for Man United, as Rondon and also Berahino have now actually hit some form. Berahino seems to have put his fallout into the past now and seems to be moving on with his career. One of the 2 of them have scored in the 3 of their last 4 league games. And on top of that, Craig Gardner, out of nowhere, has decided to pop up with a couple of goals. He's got 3 in his last 2 and a couple of assists as well. So they've been in good scoring form of late, and only one team has kept a clean sheet against West Brom at the Hawthorns in the last 6 home games that they've played. That team probably struggle to guess. I'll give you that one. It's Aston Villa were the only side to have kept a clean sheet against West Brom at the Hawthorns in the last 6 games. Quite incredible. Pulis's famed defence, though, does need a bit of work. They've conceded on average a goal a game over the last 6 games that they've played at home. But thank God Johnny Evans is back for them this weekend. Of course, that I'm sure will solve that problem. All jokes aside, though, Johnny Evans, of course, didn't work out at Manchester United, but has been very good at West Brom on the whole, and was excellent, in fact, at the reverse fixture at Old Trafford, which we eventually came through comfortably in the end, 2-0, after watching 50-60 minutes of paint drying again. So I'm hoping it doesn't turn into another one of those games, and it's a case of Pulis's team parking the bus and hitting us on the counter. The classic blueprint of how to beat Manchester United, of course. Moving on to Manchester United, where are we currently? So we're 7th in the form table over the last 6 games, with 3 wins, 1 draw and 2 defeats, 10 points gained. Away form, though, makes for pretty terrible reading, I'm afraid. In the last 6 games we played away, only 1 win, that was at Anfield, 2 draws and 3 defeats. Only 5 points gained in the last 6 games away from home. Just to put things in perspective on that, that's only a point better than Sunderland have managed in that same time frame across their last 6 matches away from home as well. So absolutely diabolical form away from home. There's your confidence builder. We have, though, scored 7 in the last 6 that we've played away from home. 3 of those did come against Newcastle, of course. But we've only failed to score in one of our last 6 away. That was at Stoke. The less said about that game, the better, of course. We have, though, I'm afraid, conceded 10 in the last 6 that we've played away. So a real worry for us defensively against any team that we play. Nearly 2 goals a game average that we ship away from home at the moment. Smalling, though, is due back. According to the physio room, having a look at the website, due back 6th of March, so that would be for this Sunday. Would be a bit rushed, and in normal circumstances, I could understand why he would be eased back into the team. However, with things currently the way they are, and with this season again sort of hinging on a knife edge of which way it's going to go, I say Smalling has to be back in that starting lineup. So how would I line up against West Brom to get the 3 points? So I'm keeping it fairly similar to the one you've seen from Louis van Gaal in recent weeks. I'm going David De Gea in goal. Varela keeps his place at right back. No reason not to. Smalling does come in. I'm going to put Rojo in as the other centre-back partner for him. And I am going to put Fosu Mensah out to left back. He was solid enough against Watford. A couple of errors. And I think potentially at the moment it might be better to have a little bit more experience in the centre-back positions with Rondon, a huge aerial threat. I think it might be a game or two too early for Fosu Mensah, so I would put him out at left-back for this one. Same 2 midfield for me, Schneiderlin and Herrera. I know that's not necessarily going to be agreed with after Herrera's sort of tied performance against Watford, and I know players need a rest, but I also think that these 2 need an opportunity to build a partnership, and I think they're doing it rather well at the moment. And then going with the 3 in behind the 1, so it'd be Rashford for me on the right. I thought he was excellent against Watford out on that right-hand side. Every time he got the ball, he looked electric. It was Martial-esque. He was getting fans off their seats. That's exactly what we want to see, especially away from home with West Brom potentially sitting deep, you would imagine, to spring out against us. I think it'd be great to get Rashford on the ball on the right-hand side and just tell him to have a run at the left-back. Just give it everything he's got. We're also going to go with Mata. I think if he hadn't have pulled the winner out against Watford, I might have considered pulling him from the squad that I would choose for Sunday's game. But I think having scored wonderful goal, having got the winner, having deputised as captain, as say, on the Wednesday night, I think keep him in the team, see if we can get some confidence building, get some form back for him. Memphis keeps his position on the left. I've been really impressed with Memphis of late after a lot of problems with his attitude and, a lot of stick rightfully aimed his way. Although he does need more time and patience does need to be exercised, as it does with Rashford and Martial and other young players. There was an attitude problem, and that did not endear him at all to the fans in any way. And he's still a long way away from where he needs to be going forward with the money outlaid on him. But I thought, as well as going forward against Watford, where he wasn't perhaps as good as he had been in the previous couple, he was excellent at working back, and that's something we haven't really seen from Memphis. So I was delighted to see that. A couple of really good bits of defending from him, especially towards the end of the game, where we were hanging on a bit. So he keeps his place, and I'm going to put Martial up front. I think he was a little bit ineffective against Watford out wide. He was coming back from an injury. I think he was pushed into the team a little bit too soon, but we need our best players out there, so I can understand why he was played. And I think if you get him some more game time, put him up front, make him the focal point, I think that would be the way to get results for us on the Sunday. So moving on to end the show then with score predictions. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below, and we follow United on Twitter. What score you think this one's going to end? I can't be too positive on this one, I'm afraid. I'd love to see the run continue, and I hope I'm wrong. I hope that we can breed some confidence by putting a similar team out to the one that's been getting results recently, and I hope we do go out there and get another crucial 3 points to keep this season alive. However, I do see us with conceding a lot of goals away from home, and with Pulis's team, failing to score only once in their last 6 at home, I think they will get goals, and I think it's going to end 2-2, a repeat of last season's rather dire performance there, where Blind, of course, got the equaliser. So I'm going 2-2. I'd like to say 2-1, but I think we might draw. I think this might be the end of that good run for now. We do tend to struggle against the so-called lesser teams. So I hope Louis van Gaal proves us wrong here. I hope he sets them up well enough to go out there and get the 3 points for us. Let us know your score predictions, though. It's 3 points if you get the correct result and scoreline, just the one if you get the correct result. So let us know your thoughts on that. And of course, anything else that we've covered on this week's show as well. We're always fascinated to hear what you have to say. This is why we do it, to get your opinions. So do get involved. And if you like what we do, hit the like button below the video. Do subscribe if you're new for regular content. Not the best quality this week, I'm sure, but we're back in the studio hopefully again next week with producer Joe and Nick, and of course the fan phone in as well. So if you are ever interested in joining us for that, do direct message us or tweet us and let us know. But that's all we've got time for this week. So let's hope that this Sunday we go and get another super result, another 3 points on the board, and keep the momentum going. We'll speak to you soon. Thanks as always for listening.